Alright, so this is me again. So we're going to focus more on research methods. So for this video, I prepared two questions which I'm going to answer. Number one is, what is a good research title? And number two is, what are the common ways or approach in doing the research? So for number one, so what is a good research title? So if you're going to if I'm going to say it in a direct way, the research title the should give the reader an immediate idea of what is the research about, what happened the research, what happened on the research. So this is not going to be a very vague topic. For example, developing a solar roof. So no, not that. Not that is not that is not a good research title. So what are the criteria? So what are the things that makes a good research title a research title a good one? Now, if you ask me, number one is that it should be concise. When I say concise, it must be direct to the point, or it is not vague in a sense. So when I say that it should be concise, it should be clear. No, when you see the title, it's already okay. So let's try to look at some research title in Science Direct, and let's try to judge if it is clear. Okay, for example, keyword would be renewable energy. Okay, so research articles. Okay, let's be more specific. Piezoelectric. Research articles. Okay, so let's try this one. So the title is Comparison of Performance of PLZT and PZT-5 Piezoelectric Material Analysis and Experiments. So when you see the title, what will happen? Oh, obviously there will be an analysis and experiment. Of what? Comparison of the performance between PLZT and PZT-5H. And what is an PLZT? And what is PZT-5H? Well, these are piezoelectric material. So it means you already know what will happen on the research from the title itself. So this is not so the things that I really notice in engineering research is that most common engineering student research is that they always use the terms I don't know, they always use the term development. They always use the word design. What else? Design, development, testing. You know, I strongly disagree with this kinds of title, because the development itself, the term development is very vague, because okay, development. So when you define what the word development means, is that it is improve. It actually means a lot of things. So development, process of developing or being developed. Tingnan nyo, yung mismong yung word is development, tapos ang definition niya, the process of developing or develop. Weird. Binalik ka lang din sa dati. So, second definition is the process of starting to experience or suffer from ailment or feeling. So, imagine nyo, the word itself, development, is very vague in a sense that, what is development? Okay. Development is something like you make something improve. So I strongly disagree with using the word development. It's overused. It's overused. At the same time, it doesn't really give you an exact meaning what's going to happen in your research. At the same time, if you're going to use the term design, okay, design. So what's the design? What does it look like? So if you're going to use design in a research, it's like, okay, so what does it look like? Does it look like what? Is it shape? Is it round? Is it square? So no. Testing. Okay, so this is a very specific term, testing. So it means that you're going to determine. So this is okay. So when do you use the word testing in a research title? Well, if you ask me, testing of a, let's say, testing of a testing testing of title, testing of testing of China-based power banks. Testing of China-based power banks under stress, under in extreme weather conditions. So, testing of China-based power banks under extreme weather conditions using 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 direct DC voltage measurements. Okay, so this is already a good research title if you ask me, because there are already elements here in the title. Like for example, okay, so what is this research all about? Well, the research is all about China-based power banks. Okay, so you're going to test what? China-based power banks. Now, what will happen with the China-based power bank? Well, technically, they are going to be tested under extreme weather conditions. Okay, so how are you going to test China-based power banks under extreme weather conditions? Well, you're going to test it using direct DC voltage measurements. So, immediately, if you're going to look at the title itself, you already know what's going to happen. What will happen, what are the things that's going to be involved, and what will be the outcome. So you already know what's going to happen. Obviously, you're going to know what will be the result of the testing. So, 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 I mean, if you ask me, I mean, you're going to be, so the research title in all its sense is like, you're going to be very specific. You're going to be very specific. So I strongly disagree. I just strongly disagree with research titles that, development, design, testing, whatsoever. Unless it is, unless that the terms, for example, unless that the term development will involve a lot of steps. Okay. So when you say development, you will obviously in your study will do a lot of process. So you will make processes, which means to say there's step 1, there's step 2, there's step 3 and 4 and 5 and so on, so on. Okay? So development of. So that's going to be, development of what? So if you're going to make a title about development, so it should be specific as well. So how can we make it specific? That's the question. How can you make it specific? Okay. So, like for example, the one of the research title of my advisee before is development of Okay, so this is the title. This is the title of the research study that I worked on with my advisee last year. So, development of SGPU coated copper cathodes for seawater batteries. Now, if we're going to analyze the title, is it complete? Well, it is. It is shrouded in mystery because it's gonna be development. So it means that you don't really know what's going to happen in the research. It could be, it may work or it may not work. Okay, so Why did I use development in this kind of topic? Well, because this material, okay, this material is not yet been tested. This is actually a new material. So, doesn't exist yet. Right? So, since it doesn't exist yet, you don't know what's going to happen. Is it positive or is it negative? What will happen? So that is why in this kind of in this research that we've conducted, we made processes. So we developed we made it first. We make the material first. Make the new material. We measure it. We test it. Test, and then we use it to compare. So we did these three steps. Number one, we make the new material. So in this sense, our chapter 3 is section number part 1 of our chapter 3 is that we make a detail, or we explain, describe what are the materials, how it can be done, or what is the process, and what will be the outcome, or what will be the result. So that's part 1. And part 2 is we test the new material. So what does it look like? How does it behave? Does it have, what are the properties? Okay? So after we found out the properties, we use it to compare. Now, we compare it against something. So if you're going to look at this one, development of SGPU, okay, we're going to use red. We have material here, SGPU, and we have another material here, copper. So it means that we compared SGPU with copper. So since this is coated, so it means that we use SGPU with plus copper, and then copper plus 0. So it means that we compared our new material with a copper material with nothing else. So just simple copper. We compare it, we test it, we determine what will be the result, what will be the development. Okay, so is it good? Is it positive? Is it successful? Yes, the answer is yes. It was successful. So that's how we really do our title. Now, another example of a research title under my supervision is this. Okay. Second one is uh, improving the solar performance using combined tracking and heat sinks. Okay, so this is another title. So I did not use development here because obviously this is not going to be a development one, because we simply have the idea that we're going to improve the performance. So in a sense, our title is already direct to the point. So what will happen? Okay, so let's analyze. Let's analyze this title. So what is the technology? Okay, so technology is, so what is all about? It is all about solar photovoltaic. Okay, so what about the solar photovoltaic? We talk about the performance. So what are you going to do with the solar photovoltaic performance? Well, we're going to improve it. Okay, so how are you going to improve it? We're going to improve it by using combined axial solar tracking and heat sinks. So as simple as that. So it means that when you see the title itself, you already know what are the things, what will be the process, and what will be the outcome, what are the things that's involved. So that's how we do the title of the research. So the question is, how do you do that? You do that by reading. You do that by simply building the RRN. You can do that by simply building the RRL or ask the expert in the field. You ask the expert in the field because they already encountered the problem itself. So they can tell you what the problem is. Now, the job, okay. So since you, for example, you ask the expert what is the problem. Okay, the expert told you that this is the problem. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to investigate or validate if that problem is real. If that problem is really true. It's not saying that the expert is wrong. It's like you are investigating if other experts in the field also encountered or also are also saying the same exact thing. For example, if you ask Sir B, ito yung problem, sabi ni Sir B, and then you're going to look at it in the internet or in Science Direct or IEEE, and then you found out that other experts are also saying that it is a problem indeed. So you just verified. Now, when will be the time? Okay, so that's it. So that's what you're going to do. Now, going back, so this is how you do a good research title. So it must be concise, it must be direct, it must be clear. What will be the thing? What are the things that's happening? What will be the outcome? Whatever. Okay. Okay, so we're going to answer question number 2. So what the common ways or approach in doing research? Okay, so there are a lot of research in my opinion. There could be that could be invention, okay, or qualitative research. Okay, that could be a qualitative research. That could be a development one or improvement. Okay, so there are actually 3 in my opinion. There are some more, but okay, let's focus first on invention. So invention is something which is new, so it doesn't exist yet. It's, for example, you live in a world where there is no paper clips. Okay, so people back then only use staple wires. So staples. People back then only use staples. So you just imagine how difficult it will be if you're going to imagine how difficult it will be if you're going to use a staple to fasten this thick of papers. So imagine that there is still no paper clips yet. Okay, so you think of something that you can use to clip this one. So what will be it? Should it be plastic? Should it be plastic? Okay. So let's say that you have a problem, which is this one. So you're going to think, are you going to use plastic? Are you going to use metal? Are you going to use wood? Are you going to use combination of both? Okay. So a lot of questions, really. And then aside from that, what will be the size? What will be the shape? What will be the color? So basically, those are the things that you're going to consider if you're going to make an invention, assuming that there is still devices that has been explored yet. Okay, so for example, should a paper clip be plastic? Should it be metal, or should it be wood, or should it be a combination of a plastic, metal, or wood? So we don't know yet. Okay, we don't know yet. So what will be the size? Should it be smaller like this, or should it be bigger? Should it be as big as this? I mean, there are basically a lot of questions. Should it be rectangular like this? Should it be square? Should it be round? Should it be so that's a tricky part about invention. You don't really know. You don't really know. Okay, so when you created something, like for example, the brand new, the first ever paperclip, then that is going to be the beginning of it. So that's going to be an invention. So you began with the problem itself. Again, the problem, we always begin with the problem. What is the problem? The problem is that there are existing, which is paperclip. There are already existing in use, which is obviously, as I mentioned, staplers. There are staplers. There are paper clips. There are existing. However, there is a problem when there is already a thick number of papers that you need to compile. So, what is your solution? So the solution obviously is to create something which can hold huge piles of paper together without having problems. That's your background of the study. Now the specific objectives would be determine what will be the material. Okay, should it be plastic? Should it be metal? Should it be wood? Should it be combination of metal, plastic, and wood? That's specific objective number 1. Specific objective number 2, what will be the size? Should it be small? Should it be medium? Should it be large? Should it be 5 millimeters? Should it be 3 m? Okay, those are the things. Third specific objective would be, what will be the shape? Should it be round? Should it be square? Should it be rectangle? Should it be triangle? No color. No, just kidding about the color. Really, it doesn't really make. It doesn't really affect how the papers will be holding. Okay. So those are the specific objectives. I hope you get it. So those are the specific objectives in a way of invention. So you have to determine the material, you have to determine the size, what will be the shape. Now, how are you going to test it? That's the chapter 3. I hope that is clear now. You're going to explain in chapter 3 how are you going to test each specific objective. How are you going to test what kind of material you're going to use? Are you going to judge it in terms of strength? Are you going to judge it in terms of weight? Are you going to judge it in terms of the strength that it can hold the paper? How about the size? Are you going to judge the size according to its I don't know, maybe how it can be easily how can it easily be used? How about the shape? I mean, still the same. Are you going to judge it according to its shape? So that's how you do research when you talk about invention. I hope that's clear now. Okay, so we're already done with invention. Okay, so second type is the qualitative research. Now, when we talk about qualitative research, this is, using statistics or any kinds of mathematical equations to describe a certain phenomena or observation or behavior. For example, so you want to determine as operation qualitative research. Okay, so for example, if you want to determine, what is a good shape, or what makes a good smartphone? What makes a phone, or what makes a phone better? Okay, so you're going to use qualitative research in that one. So you're going to ask a certain population. You're going to ask them, what do they prefer about the phone? Do they want a round edges phone? Do they want a boxy phone? Do they want a metal phone? Do they want a plastic phone? Do they prefer something which is heavy? Do they prefer something which is light? Do they prefer something which is big? Those are the kind of questions, really. Does the number of camera matter? Does the amount of, how the amount of megapixel matters? So does it? So those are the those questions can be answered if you're going to do qualitative research. So what will be the problem? So actually there's no problem in that. All you need to do is, so why do you do qualitative research? So you are investigating. You are trying to answer a question. You're trying to answer a question that has never been answered before. So that can be on this realm of a qualitative research. You're going to answer a question which has not yet been answered before. In terms of, in terms of products, in terms of devices, in terms of things. Okay, so you're not going to ask questions like, is there a God? Is there no, 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 not those kinds of questions. Silly. Okay. So in terms of electrical qualitative research, I don't really see a point. Probably if you're going to develop something, like for example, this is not really so. You don't really do qualitative research of food. You don't use a 100% qualitative research if you're going to push for an engineering research. No, this is probably just 30% of the 100%. This could be, for example, if you're going to do a development or improvement, you include qualitative research. So this is not going to be pure qualitative research in a sense, unless the question that you are trying to answer is very important, or the question that you're going to answer has a very huge significance. So, for example, probably those kind of questions can be example. Um, I don't know. Quite difficult. Okay, now moving on, we go here to development or improvement. Okay, so development or improvement is similar to the example I gave before, which is the first title. Okay, so in development, so you're going to make a state of phases. So in development, you are already making a processes in development. So development could include the design itself. So you're going to design. Okay, so you're going to develop. You're going to implement and going to test. Okay, so these are incorporated in the word development. So if you're going to push for this kind of research, for example, the idea of, for example, if you're going to make something, let's say you're going to make okay. Okay, for example, you're going to develop something, so it means that there's a problem. Okay, problem. Okay, so let's say that you're going to develop a new motorcycle. Oh, a new engine. Sorry. So, for example, this is a motor. This is you, and you're looking at a motorcycle or a car. Let's say a car. Okay, to test a car. So, looking at this car, a car has a lot of aspects or components. A car has wheels, it has chassis, it has engine. Okay, so actually these are the primary components of a car. So you cannot say something is a car if it doesn't have wheels. You cannot say something is a car if it doesn't have chassis. Obviously you cannot say something is a car if it doesn't have an engine. Obviously, so what do? So let's say that you are in a prehistoric era, wherein the only thing that we have is wooden cars, or let's say wooden wheels. So you live in a world where there are only wooden wheels. Okay, so wooden wheels are very fashionable. So it's a very good. For example, wooden wheels. Okay. See, so let's say that wooden wheels are the style of cars. Just like this. Let's say this is the style of the cars back then. So you, as an aspiring engineer, you try to ride on a car with wooden wheels, and you realize that you may discomfort. So hindi pleasurable ang experience mo kapag sumasakay ka sa sasakyan na kahoy ang gulong. Okay. So that's your idea. So that's what you found out. Kasi kapag dumadaan sa lubak, ganun yung sasakyan. So kasama ka dito sa nauuga. So you say that okay, there's a problem with the wheels. Okay. You say that okay, how can I make this car that uses wooden wheels not karag-karag, hirap. So how can you do that? So you're going to think of developing a new kind of wheel. So you're going to develop a new wheel. Okay, so you're going to develop a new wheel. Now, is this a good title? No, obviously not, because this is very vague. You're going to develop a new wheel. Okay, how? What? I mean, what? You develop what? A new wheel using what? What you're going to use? How are you going to do it? Right? And what are you going to do? So yeah, we're going to develop a new wheel. I mean, what is the wheel? Don't really know, right? So, so in a sense that you're going to, that is the reason why I strongly disagree with, I strongly declared or make a statement that you shouldn't really start with a title. You shouldn't. This is not a good idea. You should not always start with a problem, with a title. You start with a problem. Okay, you already know that the problem is the vibration itself. So it's really uncomfortable to ride a car with wooden wheels. Okay, so obviously you're not going to start with a problem with a title because you don't know what's going to happen yet. Okay, so now you said that the problem is the wood or the material. The problem with the wheels is the material. Obviously, the problem with the wheel is not the shape. Okay, it's not the shape. It should be round. So you said that the problem is the material itself. So you said the material is wood. So this is the problem, the wood material. So you're going to question yourself. So if it's not wood, can we use metal? So that's where you're going to do your research. So you're going, for example, if it's 18th century, 1800s, and let's say that it's already Google or internet back then, you're going to search Google. Okay, alternative materials to wooden wheels. Okay, alternative materials to wooden wheels. Right. Okay, so let's say, so you search Google. Alright, so, okay, so, wow, okay, wheels, okay, this one, okay, wheels for cars. Wow, okay, so, wow, I see. Wow. So metal. Oh, I see. So this is metal. Okay, so that's metal, right? Okay, so you are already making RRL because you are already looking at what are other materials that can be used or potential materials that can be used. You say, oh, it's metal. We can use metal. What else? Oh, what's that? Oh, okay, rubber. Okay, rubber. And you have rubber. Okay. So you found out in your research you found out in your or in your literature review that there are two materials. There are metal and rubber. What else? Imagine that you are in 1800s. What kind of materials is available or are available? You only have metal. You have rubber. Probably you have clothes. Okay, you have clothes. What else? Probably you have okay, invention of rubber tires. Okay, so the invention of the rubber tires, 1887. Imagine, and I said 1800s. So, ano pa? 67 years pa. 1867. So 67 years pa before lumabas yung commercial na rubber tire. So let's say na ikaw yung nabubuhay sa 1800 saka ikaw yung nag-i-imagine. Ikaw yung ano kaya yung pwede pampalit mo. So, yun. So ikaw ito. Ikaw yung nag-develop ng rubber tires. Okay. So, okay, check as the evolution. Right, see? So we started with this one. Actually, this is the beginning, really. See? So, it's a development. So, there is a phase. So, you started from this one. So, see, metal ang ginamit dito. Metal, oh. So, tama naman, di ba? Metal, yeah, rubber, clothes. It could be used, I don't know, maybe, yeah, maybe wood. No, we go back to the wood. Okay, so you only have three materials. You have metal, you have rubber, you have clothes. So, you're going to question yourself, what can we use? What can we use? So you tested out that metal is not okay because it's still heavy at the same time. And you try clothes. The clothes. The problem with the with the clothes tires is that hindi rin maganda kasi yung clothes masyadong malambot. And then you found out that okay, rubber. Wow, we can use rubber. We can use rubber. Yeah, why not rubber? Eureka! So you decided that okay, you can use rubber. So material is rubber. Now a following question is like this: are you going to make a wheels which is pure rubber, solid rubber? Are you going to use a wheel which is solid rubber, or you're just going to coat it with this one? Let's say this is the existing wooden. Say this is the existing tire or yeah, wheels, and then you decided that okay, let's try making a solid rubber tire, and then let's try making a tire which uses rubber on the outside and wooden on the outside. And let's try another one. Let's try using metal on the inside and then rubber on the outside. Okay. So, this is what's going to happen. Now, the question is, what is the appropriate research title? So, it's going to be of wheels, development of wheels, car wheels. Car wheels, development of car wheels, okay, so it's not going to be development really. Selecting, no. Method of car wheels. So it's going to be semicolon, selecting alternative materials from metal, rubber, and clothes. Okay, so development of car wheels. What's about it? Selecting alternative materials from metal, rubber, and cloth. Cloth. So now, you're not very specific here. You're not very specific in a sense that you are saying that metal is the answer, or you're not saying rubber is the answer. You're not saying cloth is an answer. No, you are saying that you're going to select alternative materials from metal, rubber, and cloth. And what is this all about again? This is all about developing a car wheel. Okay, so you're going to develop a car wheel, and what's going to happen? You technically selecting alternative materials from metal, rubber, and cloth. Or let's say another form of this title is this. selecting uh, materials for wood in car wheels. Yeah, selecting alternative materials for wood in car wheels. So, what is all about? Well, this is all about car wheels. Okay, this is all about car wheels. What about car wheels? Well, we're saying that wood. Okay, what's going to happen in the wood in the car wheels? You're going to select alternative materials. So, alternative materials. So so your study is basically you're going to search for an alternative material for wood in car wheels. So actually, this is not a very good title, but it is still okay in a sense that you already know what's going to happen in one glance. That you're going to select alternative materials for wood in car wheels. Okay, so it means that you are going to have a specific objectives like to determine the available materials. Okay, so objective number one is if they're going to determine the available materials in the market. So you found out that the available materials in the market are metals. Okay, but the problem is there are many kinds of metal. Copper, there are aluminum, there are combination or alloy, there are many more else. There are tin. So imagine, when we talk about metal, there are many kinds of metal already. There are copper, there are aluminum, there are alloys of copper and aluminum, there are tin, there are so many. When we talk about rubber, there are also many kinds of rubber. See? And when we talk about cloth, there are still many kinds of cloth. There is 100% cotton, there are rayon, there are linen, there are silk, there are so many things. So that makes this research very complex because you're going to select alternative materials for wooden car wheels, which is you don't really know what's going to be the alternative material for wood. So you don't know yet. So this research is kind of investigate is more of like a trial and error. So it's really a trial and error way. So for example, this one a solid rubber and then wood with rubber coated. You have metal inside and rubber outside. You can say that combination of wood, metal, and cloth. So that's on the development side. Now this is still not done yet. So the development part is this. This is going to be a development part. So let's say that you already created your set of wheels. So you already have a wheel like pure rubber. You have rubber outside, but wood in the outside. You already made rubber on the outside, and then okay, wood on the inside, right? And then the last one is that you combine, rubber on the outside, and then there is, let's say, cloth. There is cloth on the second layer, and then finally there is wood. Okay, and last is rubber on the outside, cloth in the second layer, and then instead of the wood you use metal. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 variations. Now the only thing that is missing here is this the wheel with the solid wood. Okay, yeah. So how many are you going to test? You're going to test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're going to test them. Okay. Now, how many wheels are you going to make? Technically, you're making 4. So you're making 4 of this wheel, 4 of this wheel, 4 of this wheel, 4 under 4 under 4. So how many samples you have? 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 24. So you have 24 samples all in all. Okay. Now, what's going to happen? the specific objective would be this. You're going to test or you're going to evaluate the performance of the wheel. Okay. Okay, so that's gonna be the specific objective. To determine the performance of the wheel in terms of. So you're going to be specific here. How are you going to determine the performance of the wheel? Are you going to determine it based on the speed of the car? Okay, so mabilis ba ang sasakyan kapag gumamit ng gulong na ganito? In terms of the speed, right? What else? How can you test the wheel? Speed, and then endurance, and then capacity, weight capacity. Okay, weight capacity is ilang tao kaya sakay. Okay, baka kasi pag 10 tao, siraan na yung gulong. Mga ganun. And then, you're also going to test according to, of course, yung target mo, yung vibration. O yung treasure, or yung experience. You're going to measure experience. It's really difficult, to test the experience. So, obviously, in experience, sa chapter 3 nyo, experience is how you're going to test experience. So, how are you going to measure experience? Obviously, you're going to make a survey. So, you're going to make a list of questionnaires. How is the experience so far? Are you going to rate it 1 out of 5, 1 out of, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5? And then, how many people are you going to test it or going to rate it? Yeah, see? So, that is one way of testing. So, how many people said, well, let's say, sa experience, some people gave it 2 stars. Then, dito is 5 stars, and then 5 stars, and then, probably 4 stars, and 3 stars, and then 4 stars. Oh, no, sorry. And then, only 1 star. Kasi, dapat talo yan kasi yan yung pangit. Kasi yun yung in-improve nyo. So, yun yung magiging result ng experience nyo. Okay? So, the speed, gagamitin nyo talaga yung gulong dun sa actual na karwahe. So, okay. So, sa EDA, base sa EDA, kung naalala nyo pa EDA nyo, kung itetest nyo ito, dapat same ang karwahe, same ang sasakay, kasi same ang sasakay, same ang yung magkocontrol sa karwahe, at same din dapat yung kabayo. Dapat nga ay hindi iba-iba. Let's say dapat pare-pareho testing. For example, hindi rin pwede sunod-sunod kasi kapag sunod-sunod yung testing nyo, yung kabayo pwedeng pagod na. So maapektuhan nun yung speed mo kasi pwedeng pagod na yung kabayo. After, for example, yung namong test ito, then pangalawa ito, 3, 4, 5. Pagdating sa 5, pagod na yung kabayo, so maapektuhan yung speed. So, mga ganun. So, endurance naman, I don't know, siguro kung durability, hindi pala endurance, sorry. Let's say durability na lang. Okay. Okay, so, smart objective ba ang durability? Well, yes, it is. It can be. I don't know, kung itetest nyo yung gulong for a period of 2 months, or 1 month, or 1 week, pwede rin. So, durability. So, how are you going to measure durability? Titingnan nyo by inspection. So, kung nasira ba, kung may ilan yung sira, mga ganun. Kung may mga bitak, may mga crack, mga ganun. So, yun, durability. Pero mahirap kasi masukat yung durability. Pero, kasi durability, pwedeng maging subjective yan. So, ganun. So, weight capacity naman is madali lang. Ilang tao yung kayang isakay sa karwahe na hindi siya nasisira or nadi-deform. Yun lang yun. In experience. So, that's it. So, you're going to, sa gagawin yung analysis, ito yung magiging baseline nyo. Ito yung tinatawag na baseline. So, ito yung magiging parang pinakamababa nyo. So, gaano kalaki yung improvement kapag ginamit ito? Ilang percent yan? Ilang percent? Mas maganda ba? How many percent yung bilis? For example, sa speed, ito ay, let's say, 3 kilometers per hour. Ito ay nagiging 4 kilometers per hour. Ito ay 5 kilometers per hour. Ito naman ay 2 kilometers per hour. So, gaano kalaki yung difference? So, you're going to measure in terms of percent. So let's say that using a wheel with rubber outside and then wood in the center gave you a 30% increase in speed. So it means 30% mas mabilis yun kaysa dito sa wooden. Mga ganon. So it means that when you're going to develop something that already exists, you are not, you should not, or you must not forget using a baseline or control. Okay? Hindi kayo wag niyo kakalimutan 'to. Wag kayo magde-develop nitong ano lang, itong mga bagay na 'to, hindi lang 'yan. Isasama niyo lagi sa testing niyo yung original, yung ginagamit dati. Sasabay niyo ng testing 'yon at i-compare niyo. Ganun. So, that's one of the common ways. So, I hope that's clear.